1033, and it was all about Zoro. Kind of. More like the best moment involved Zoro, and the rest were just sort of add-ons. So, what exactly happened in this chapter? We open up with Marco and Izo going towards the conjured ghost made by Kanjuro, and we see in the foreground, and it is reasonable to assume that she is still fighting Law and Kid. However, she does appear to be laughing, which may be a bad sign, and it really is hard to believe that one of the Yonk is going to be defeated by Law and Kid. It can go either way, which is really good for the story because, hey, you don't know what's gonna happen, right? So, you end up with, we move further down to Yamato, Apu, and X-Drake, along with a number giant that is following Yamato. And speaking of Yamato, she was actually the star of the cover page today, or in this chapter, I mean, which was her helping out an old lady, I believe, which was very nice, and it's a nice little detail that Oda decided to add. However, I do not believe it's part of a cover story. Now, when we have Apu, X-Drake, and Yamato, the yokai falls from the ceiling, but also with 4 particular people. You may know them as Nico Robin, Brook, and the 2 masked sea agents. Now, Brook and Robin were going to fight them, however the yokai burned them, which, screwed up their entire attack, and was pretty helpful to them at least. And so they decided to run. However, this is when CP9 engaged with X-Drake and Apu. Now, Apu took pictures of them and was blabbling, talking about how, this is going to be quite a scoop, and they tried to kill him by stabbing him in the neck with their finger. And, as you can probably guess, Apu didn't like that. So, and they also had a very interesting conversation with Drake, which I feel might get looked over this chapter. I'm really hoping that it gets the attention it deserves, but it sort of implies that even though Drake is working for the government and they know about that, they're still going to kill him anyway, which makes me believe that Sword is not aligned with the world, which is very interesting and will hopefully bring will have further context in the future. But so he goes in for the kill, and Apu and X-Drake decide to unite and team up on the CP agents, which leads to a really great spread, or not spread, but just one page, but it's a damn good page. It's Drake attacking in his Allosaur form, and Apu, I believe, kicking him, which is, really good, and it's going to be very interesting to see those two fight together. I'm really looking forward for next chapter, and also eventually when the anime gets there, it's going to hopefully build on that kind of scene, because that's what the anime, especially Wano right now, has been doing, and it's been doing really well. So we have all that, but then we have the 2 most important scenes, I feel, which I'm gonna go over Hiyori's first. Hiyori is about to mess up Orochi, and it is going to be fantastic to see him get slugged across the face. Fantastic. I am so excited for it. Now, we do know that she doesn't seem to have much power. However, I do think she does have access to Momonosuke's sword. So what might happen is she might... I personally, my belief is, my prediction is that Momonosuke is going to crash into it while trying to fly, and then he will run into Orochi and Hiyori, and he will use Odin's blade, which Hiyori is carrying on her, to fight Orochi. Because that's the really only way I can see Momonosuke being super useful other than just something that's going to extend the clock. But yeah, I am looking forward to it. And when I first saw the scene, I'm like, oh, great, Orochi's about to get slapped real bad, and it's going to be fantastic to watch. To probably the best setup for Zoro we had in a while, since probably his Ashura against Kaido, I would say. Enma. Enma seems to be going through some sort of awakening, or more just exerting its will over Zoro. And the reason this is so important is because Zoro is known as the iron-willed crewmate. Like, when you think of crewmates with a strong will, you think back to Thrower Bark. That's exactly what you think of. Nothing happened. And that's right, nothing is going to happen with Enma except it is going to get stronger. What I personally think is that Enma is going to get transformed into a black blade. Now you may be wondering, why do I think Enma, over all things, will become a black blade before his main sword? Now, personally, Enma's been getting a lot of focus, and I think Enma is more of a character developing tool for Zoro, whereas his main sword, and we're not really talking about the Kitetsu because everyone's expecting Zoro to get the shiny new cursed blade at the end of Wano. We're all expecting it, but it may happen, it probably will happen, but it might not. Anywho, I think that this sword, Enma, is, asserting its dominance over Zoro right now because Zoro showed that moment of weakness against King. And side note, King's attack with his pterodactyl beak where he pulled it back with rubber, that was pretty hilarious, but I kind of just... It was both hilarious and sort of lackluster, whereas I guess Queen really... Okay, Queen versus Sanji, and okay, so the snake Brachiosaurus and the helicopter the helicopter Triceratops I feel are definitely more they're definitely more hilarious than the stretchy beak pterodactyl, and I don't think it comes close to that. However, he does push Zoro to the point where he's like, damn, if I don't find out what sort of species he is and his power set, I might lose, which is not in character for Zoro whatsoever. Like, on one hand, it is, but on the other, Zoro really has an iron will, and it's so weird, just sort of see a crack, especially since he had that fight with Kaido, he had that one cool thing with Kaido, broke his bones, took the medicine, and what I think is happening right now is Enma is absorbing Haki, not just from Zoro, but around the battlefield, the excess amount of Haki, because a lot of people can't control it, so they won't be able to properly harness it. Takes it from others and takes and takes and takes. And I think that's going to help power up Zoro. And I think that crazy amount of Haki from all the people around putting their heart and soul into this fight is going to develop Enma into a black blade. Now, that was definitely the most important part of the chapter, but what did I think about the chapter as a whole? Well, for me, I wouldn't say any moment that I would say is show-stopping, if you were to say the least. Like, I'm gonna remember this chapter, and I'm gonna remember a lot of scenes for it, but I don't know if it's on the same level as some of the other chapters, especially the Luffy favored chapters. However, this is I think this might be one of the best setup chapters for Zoro, and hopefully we get more stuff about him, because Zoro definitely has ties to Wano, we all know this, but mostly setup, everything seems to be, setting up smoothly for the next chapter. So hopefully we build on top of that. However, we did have a great look to Sanji's chapter, and that has not been